motion to go back into open session?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
This is the open Board of Health meeting. Susan?
Thanks. For the month of July, we have 7 reported events that happened. We had 1 sanitary condition. We had an animal dog bite. We had a mini pig bite its owner.
Wow.
We had 1 standing water for mosquitoes and pool cover and small baby pools around the property. And then we had 3 miscellaneous. We had a confirmed case of Campylobacter, which is from undercooked or raw poultry. We had multiple health code violations in another store in town, and well as a truck idling, but everything has been resolved for the county, so we're good. That's the end of my report.
This is a public meeting for the Board of Health. Is there anyone in the public that would like to address anything on the Board of Health? Seeing none, have a motion to close the public portion.
Second.
Comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Have a motion to adjourn the Board of Health meeting.
So made. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to ordinance introductions and first reading. Ordinance number 2023-14, a bond ordinance providing for various 2023 general capital improvements by and in the Township of Maple Shade in the County of Burlington, the State of New Jersey, appropriating $2,270,000, therefore, including 2 grants in the aggregate of about $225,000, and authorizing the issuance of $1,947,000 in bonds or notes to finance part of the cost thereof. May I have a motion to introduction?
So made.
Second.
Comments? Roll call, please, Terry.
Ms. Nunes?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Approved.
Mrs. Volpe?
Yes.
Mr. Wiest?
Approved.
Mayor Kaufman?
Yes. Publication date is August 30th, 2023, with a public hearing on September 14th, 2023. Ordinance number 2023-15, a bond ordinance providing for various 2023 utility improvements by and in the Township of Maple Shade in the County of Burlington, the State of New Jersey, appropriating $2,050,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $1,952,000 bonds or notes to finance part of the cost thereof. Motion for introduction, please.
So made.
Second.
Comments? Roll call, please, Terry.
Ms. Nunes?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Approved.
Mrs. Volpe?
Yes.
Mr. Wiest?
Approved.
Mayor Kaufman?
Yes. Publication date, August 30th, 2023, with a public hearing on September 14th, 2023. Ordinance number 2023-16, a bond ordinance providing for various water system improvements by and in the Township of Maple Shade in the County of Burlington, the State of New Jersey, appropriating $4,500,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $4,500,000 bonds or notes to finance part of the cost thereof. I have a motion to introduction.
So moved.
Second.
Comments? Roll call, please, Terry.
Ms. Nunes?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Approved.
Mrs. Volpe?
Yes.
Mr. Wiest?
Approved.
Mayor Kaufman?
Yes. Ordinance number 2023-17, an ordinance of the Township of Maple Shade in the County of Burlington, New Jersey, adopting a privately owned salt storage program. I have a motion for introduction.
So made.
Second.
Comments? Roll call, please, Terry.
Ms. Nunes?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Approved.
Mrs. Volpe?
Yes.
Mr. Wiest?
Approved.
Mayor Kaufman?
Yes. Publication date, August 30th, 2023, with a public hearing on September 14th, 2023. Ordinance number 2023-18, ordinance of the Township of Maple Shade in the County of Burlington, New Jersey, amending Maple Shade's Township Code, regulating commercial filming in the township. May I have a motion for introduction?
So moved.
Second.
Comments?
Yes, Mayor, there will be some draft, after speaking with Eileen today, we are going to have a couple draft changes that have to be changed to the draft. So it's introduced as title only, but we will have a new draft ready
Before the public hearing?
before the public hearing, yes.
Before the publication date?
Before the publication date.
Just minor changes, Mayor.
Just minor changes, yep.
Publication date, August 30th, 2023, with a public hearing on September 14th, 2023. Ordinance?
We need to do a roll call.
Do we have a vote on that, Mayor? I'm sorry if I
Did
missed
I?
it.
Yeah, I busted in with comments.
We didn't have.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
that's what you
checked
did.
it.
I apologize. Yeah.
Roll call, please, Terry.
Ms. Nunes?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Approved.
Mrs. Volpe?
Yes.
Mr. Weiss?
Approved.
Mayor Kaufman?
Yes. Publication date, August 30th, 2023. Public hearing, September 14th, 2023. Ordinance, second reading and public hearing. Ordinance number 2023-12, an ordinance of the Township of Maple Shade in the County of Burlington, New Jersey, repealing ordinance number 2023-09 and amending chapters 4 and 16 of the Township Code regarding the Township Fire Department. This is an open public hearing. If there's anyone that would like to address this ordinance, please come forward. Seeing none, I have a motion to close the public.
Is she walking? Is she coming up?
I don't know.
No.
No. May I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So made.
Second.
Comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I have a motion to adopt the ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
Comments? Roll call, please, Terry.
Ms. Nunes?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Approved.
Mrs. Volpe?
Yes.
Mr. Weiss?
Approved.
Mayor Kaufman?
Yes. Ordinance number 2023-13, an ordinance of the Township of Maple Shade in the County of Burlington, the State of New Jersey, amending and supplemental Chapter 152 of the Township's Code regarding requirements for inspection of lead-based paint in certain residential dwellings. This is an open public hearing. Is there anybody that would like to address this ordinance? Seeing none, I have a motion to close the public hearing on this ordinance.
So made.
Second.
Comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
May I have a motion to adopt this ordinance?
So made. Second.
Comments? Roll call, please, Terry.
Ms. Nunes?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Approved.
Mrs. Volpe?
Yes.
Mr. Weiss?
Approved.
Mayor Kaufman?
Yes. Public portion for the consent agenda items. They are Resolution 2023-135 through Resolution 2023-R-146. If there's anyone in the public that would like to address anything in those resolutions, please come forward. Seeing none, I have a motion to close the public portion on the consent agenda.
So made. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, consent agenda, 2023-R-135, approval of liquor license. Resolution number 23-R-136, release performance guarantee to Standard Pipe for reduction in the Euclid pump station and accept a 2-year maintenance bond. Resolution 23-R-137, authorized the purchase of a 2024 Chevy Malibu sedan police vehicle under New Jersey state contract. Resolution 2023-138, authorized engineering services for Collins Lane Park lighting. Resolution 2023-R-139, resolution for rejecting bids for wastewater treatment plant chlorine contact tank repairs and authorized rebid. Resolution number 2023-R-140, appointing Emily Wallace as a full member of the Maple Shade Planning Board with a term to expire December 31st, 2023. Resolution number 23-R-141, resolution authorizing establishment for the lien on property maintenance for Block 35, Lot 1.01. Resolution number 2023-R-142, resolution authorizing establishment for the lien on property maintenance for Block 12, Lot 25. Resolution number 2023-R-147, appoint member...
143. John.
I'm sorry, 143. Glasses. Appointing members to the Business and Economic Development Commission. Resolution number 2023-R-144, resolution to amend the capital budget. Resolution number 2023-R-145, authorize the installation of a bench at the bus stop in front of Block 24, lots 8 and 8.01. That's the historic red schoolhouse. Resolution number 23-R-146, authorize execution of deed for the transfer of Block 120, Lot 7, previously sold at public auction. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So made.
Second.
Any comments? Roll call, please, Terry.
Ms. Nunes?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Approved.
Mrs. Volpe?
Yes.
Mr. Weiss?
Approved.
Mayor Kaufman?
Yes. Approval of expenditures list? Susan.
Thank you. Current fund bill is $3,329,348.81. Utility fund bill list, $1,648,451.61. Capital fund bill list is $31,742.25. Our utility capital bill list is $23,563.15. Trust fund bill list, $767,013. And our grant fund bill list is $9,954.34. I have reviewed the above bill list as submitted and recommend payment when funds are available.
Can I have a motion to approve the expenditure list?
So made.
Motion.
Second.
You get it, Terry?
Cody.
Take your choice. We're like,
Comments? Roll call, please, Terry.
Ms. Nunes?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Approved.
Mrs. Volpe?
yes.
Mr. Weist?
Approved.
Mayor Kaufman?
Yes. Approval of July 2023 minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Comments? Roll call, please.
Ms. Nunes?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Approved.
Mrs. Volpe?
Yes.
Mr. Weist?
Approved.
Mayor Kaufman?
Yes. It's the public portion. Members of the public wishing to speak will be permitted to address their comments to the council on any municipal topic. Anybody in the audience that would like to address council on any items? Seeing none, a motion to close. I'm sorry.
Too quick.
Okay. Name and address, please, for the record.
Jennifer Nixon, Maple Shade, New Jersey. First, I'm going to start by inviting council and the Township of Maple Shade to the grand reopening celebration of Ant the Dance. So like last time, we have little invites.
No, thank you.
Secondary. I stand before you all today with gratitude and excitement as I express my heartfelt thanks for the incredible opportunity to join this remarkable team as the newly appointed Director of Business and Economic Development. I am truly honored by the trust you've placed in me to contribute to the growth and prosperity of Maple Shade. My 17-year journey at Columbia Bank has been an incredible learning experience, allowing me to nurture a crucial aspect of business owners' journeys from a financial perspective. However, this new role marks a remarkable shift, enabling me to play a pivotal role in attracting businesses to our vibrant community of Maple Shade and witnessing not them just survive, but thrive. Moreover, I am thrilled to have the chance to support our existing local businesses in their endeavors to help them flourish. Having been a lifelong resident of this town, I carry with me a deep sense of pride and connection to this community. It is my unwavering commitment to showcase any aspiring entrepreneur why choosing Maple Shade is synonymous with making the best decision. This is making the best decision for the venture. This town is more than just a place. It is a nurturing environment that fosters growth, innovation, and collaboration. I've already hit the ground running since Monday, and I can confidently say that there are big things on the horizon. This excitement that pulses through me is not only for my own journey, but holds a promise of transformation and progress, and I couldn't be more enthusiastic about being part of it. So I want to thank you all once again, Susan and Council, for this opportunity. With your support and dedication of our team, I am eager to lead Maple Shade towards a brimming future of success, growth, and prosperity, and here's to new beginnings.
Congratulations.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Claire, did you want to ask about the,
Oh,
while
could
you're
you-
Jen?
Jen, could I ask you a question?
Yes.
With regard to the pizza gathering?
Yes.
Could you elaborate a little bit on that? I really wasn't sure what it was
The
until
Pizza
somebody
Fest.
complained.
So, if you're not on Facebook, the running joke has been Maple Shade has so many pizza establishments. Our committee sat down, and there are about 17 or more establishments and restaurants in Maple Shade that serves some form of pizza in some sort of way, flatbread, whole pizzas, whatever. So Business Association was thinking of a way for a fundraiser, because our biggest fundraiser was the car show connected with the sidewalk sale, to raise funds for our scholarship, our scholarship fund, MSBA charities. So we came up with the Pizza Fest as a way to embark on our love for pizza in Maple Shade, and we're having a pizza festival on September 17th. All of the pizza places, whether they were a Maple Shade Business Association member or not, including the chains like Domino's and Papa John's, were invited to participate. Participation for them was free. All they had to do was show up with pizza, and we would pay them for each pizza they bring. And the residents or whoever is a pizza enthusiast are able to buy tickets at thinkmapleshade.com to come and get a taste of all of the pizza that Maple Shade has to offer. questions.
That answers my question,
Okay.
yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
Any other members of the public that would like to bring anything to council at this point?
My name is Greg McLaughlin, 75 Guilford Place, Burlington Township, New Jersey. I was a vendor in this town, and I worked in this town. I spent 14 years here doing EMS. I spoke at this meeting last month. Conveniently, that following Monday, I was fired. Okay? So, just to bring to attention some of the things that you want to say transparency, well, the training in the EMS service sucks in Maple Shade. 14 years I was there. I have 9 official OSHA complaints about the squad and 3 federal. Okay? 1 complaint including the fact that there was an EMT riding on a truck without proper credentials, so every person that was billed is insurance fraud. Okay? Second one is a HIPAA violation. And we know how HIPAA violations work. There's a big problem in the EMS service here. Okay? It's run by a dictator. In my promotion of a letter, I addressed and asked for a raise because a guy who's been here for 14 years should not be making $2 more than people that are starting at 6 months. You want to talk about the training records from the fire department. Why don't you look at the training records of the EMS service? Look at the field training officers. That don't happen. Look at the driver training records. That don't happen. You have an EMS chief that walked out of a CPR class because he could not get down to do CPR on the floor. How he's getting his card? Not my concern. Okay? It's thankful, and I didn't get a chance to do it, but it's thankful to the police officers that I had on a lot of the calls that I went to. And the 2 examples where she probably didn't get recognition was Karen Wortman, who helped me save a lady's life over in the apartments of a church. And that's all I'll say. But as you all know about the subject that fell off the water tower, okay, my partner and I that night did an hour and 40 minutes worth of CPR with the chief standing there that never once helped us. It's okay that I got fired. 14 years of dedicated service I gave to this town. And I am a community person in this town. I taught for this town. I taught for the fire department. I talked to a lot of people in this town. But that's okay, because you know what? I got another job because my value was worth it. But I'm telling you right now, all the complaints that I have submitted will all be validated by multiple witnesses, past and present, in the squad. What was done to me was horrible. But it's conveniently the week after that I made a comment here about the mortars and the fireworks. But I'm going to let the lawyers handle it.
Is there anyone else in the public that would like to bring anything to town council? Seeing none, I have a motion to close the public portion.
So made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Staff and professional comments. Councilman Weiss,
Yeah,
we'll start with you.
thank you. That way you can do it all, we can just agree with you. Okay. It seems like a long time since our last meeting, and that's because it has been. And I will go back to Monday night, July 31st, was a grand opening of Pat McKenna Realty, and it was a beautiful night, great turnout. Mr. McKenna and family was there. They're very excited about being in Maple Shade, probably as excited as we are about having them in Maple Shade. So that was very nice. And then the following Tuesday, August 1st, was our National Night Out. And we really lucked out this year with the weather. We didn't have rain before. We didn't have rain the night of. We had the new location, the Aces Field, which seemed to turn out absolutely perfectly. I really don't know where to begin to thank people. There were so many people that are involved in it, volunteers, that make it happen. But I really want to send out a special thank you to Dave Carruthers. He was there the entire day. He started out with me in the morning when we picked the truck up and brought over there. And he was there at night when I picked that truck up to return it. And I saw him through the entire day and evening, not standing around watching. Dave was doing something all the time, as he always does at the road department. So we're not used to that with the head of the road department even showing up at events. It just speaks to what kind of a leader he is. And also I want to say kudos to the public work employees for the courteous and pleasant demeanor while working at all of these extracurricular activities. Thursday night, August 17th, there was a concert in the park. It worked out very well, although there were times it seemed iffy regarding the weather. The weather held out, and the concert was a success. It appeared that everyone had a good time. As I went around, I saw people dancing in the grass, which is tough. You can't slide your feet that well, but they were doing good. So it was just another great night for residents of Maple Shade, and that's all I have there.
Thank you. Councilwoman Nunes.
Good evening, all. I agree with Nelson that the Pat McKenna Realty was a very nice event. I saw many, many people there because I did attend, and also on National Night Out. The residents were all there in force, and of course our police department and Lieutenant Misty Weiss did a fantastic job, and all of DPW. Everybody that was there, our staff members here, everybody was there to help each other. And this is always a wonderful community. We help each other. We're there. The volunteers in every aspect are spot on every time. So I thank all of you for that. And of course, I didn't get to go to the August concert. I was not here, and make sure the school year is coming up upon us, and we have to be careful. Kids are going back to school. You just have to make sure you look both ways when we're driving, because they're not looking both ways. So, they're going to be very geared up to go back to school, and, just make sure that you take an extra step and an extra look to make sure everything is okay on the street before you move your vehicle. So that's all I have. Have a wonderful summer. Enjoy Labor Day. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman.
Okay,
Welcome.
follow up on the school. We have best wishes to all of our students who are going to further their education. I see a lot of pictures on Facebook with happy, smiling faces and setting up their rooms, and then tears when mom and dad go away from both sides. It's not just a one-sided thing. So I'm just excited for them to start this new adventure, this new phase of their life. And I will be saying goodbye to my granddaughter tomorrow as she heads off to the University of Delaware. So best wishes to all of them. Everyone have a healthy rest of summer, and let's look forward to some cool weather. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah, that's true.
Deputy Mayor Schmidt.
Thank you. Obviously, I'll second everything that everyone else has already said. I personally want to welcome Jen on her new endeavor. I spent a lot of time with her, working with her at the MSBA. She's going to be excellent. I'm very excited that she took the position for us. So, I also want to concur with Councilman Wiest about the National Night Out. What an unbelievable event. Really neat location. I just want to thank everyone involved. It did not go off with it. It went off without a hitch, but not without a lot of work. So thank you to everybody involved. And that's all there.
Thank you. Just a few things. Obviously, a lot is going on here in town. National Night Out, concerts in the park, businesses coming in, and grand openings. So we are doing a lot here in Maple Shade going on. In regards to the schools, they are opening. They'll be open before our next meeting. So please, Councilwoman Nunes has said, please be careful as you're driving, because those kids are not looking out for you. You have to look out for them. And just one other thing, if you're driving and a school bus stops and puts out their red lights, That is not a suggestion. You must stop. It's against the law to pass a school bus with its lights on. And again, another reason is those kids
Don't
know coming off that bus that people are supposed to stop. So they don't think about it. And next thing you know, they're out there, you blow the light, and we have tragedy. So again, please watch out for those school buses. Okay. Terry, anything?
No, sir.
Council?
No, thank you.
Susan, you ready?
I am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Operations.
So just to give, I guess, like Nelson had said, it's been a while. The township, we held an auction via Gov Deals back in May. We'll close that out in July, which we disposed of no longer used municipal assets, vehicles, equipment, tools, et cetera. The auction netted the township a total of $43,467.55. So we had a very successful auction. We have some more items that are on the list that we're hoping to get done before the end of the year as well. We were officially made aware last week. I've been mentioning it several times in the last couple of reports that I've done. But last week, we got official word with the grant application that we have been awarded upgrades to our food bank in the amount of $125,000. So I have that paperwork that will be going back up to the county tomorrow. Also, I would be remiss if I didn't mention a very generous donation from Holy Trinity Church we received in the amount of $91,700. So our food bank is going to be revamped. We're going to set some new things in motion for them, get them some things that they need, and really be able to serve our community even better. Our annual audit exit conference will be conducted next week. A full report of the conference will be reported on at our meeting in September. However, I can share with you that with little tidbits that we got, our auditor has reported that there is very little to discuss during the exit conference, which is good, and that this is the least amount of discussion items that they can remember in all their time as our township auditor. So kudos to our finance team and obviously all of our staff as well. Jen has already basically announced herself, but I do want to formally I'm happy to announce and introduce that Jen, a lifelong resident of Maple Shade and formerly of Columbia Bank, has joined our team as our Director of Business and Economic Development. Her 17-year career with Columbia Bank, in which she dealt with new and existing businesses on a daily basis, her background in marketing as well, is really going to prove to be a huge success here. And it just goes to further what our council's vision is and what we've been working on for the past several years, being able to bring this to fruition. It's going to help catapult our community into a different growth aspect. And it's a very exciting time. When she says that she hit the ground running, she hit the ground running this week. So she's also going to be overseeing the newly formed Business and Economic Development Commission that everybody knows that takes the place of the Advisory Board of Commerce. So that commission is an exciting thing here in town as well. On August 7th, we welcomed 2 new police officers to the police department. Zachary Shepard is currently attending the Gloucester County Police Academy, and Maple Shade resident Jarrett Lee is in uniform, and he's undergoing training through the FTO program with the department. You were speaking a little bit about the schools. We had a meeting with the superintendent and the principal from Yoakum School about parking there, and especially on Fork Landing. The school has really put in some safeguards and some helps to alleviate the parking issues there. We were able to work with the fire marshal and the fire official and our construction office to help get some additional parking in their parking lot. So we're hoping that with these moves, these immediate moves, and they've changed some bus routes as well over there. So we're hoping all of those in the beginning days will be helpful. We'll see, but we're all committed to working on that. As you all said, school will be in session. Our police department will be out in full force at all the schools, making sure that the kids are safe. But we just ask that everybody has patience. It'll be difficult, but we'll get through it. Just to address some of our department head reports, DPW continues to address roadways throughout town that are beginning to show signs of wear. They've been doing pothole patching, small road mill and overlay repair work continues to be done. We're doing that all in-house, so that's saving the township money. This week, though, you might have seen when you came in through the front doors, they're completing concrete repairs around the time capsule, and they will be installing a new bike rack in front of the building. So we had to remove the old bike rack for one. It was old and fallen apart, took up a lot of space, so we have a new modern bike rack there. Kids will be able to ride their bikes up here and have a place to lock them up. In other department head reports through the end of July, our construction office continues to be operating in a positive position with an increase in permit fees of approximately 22% over this time last year. That's in part due to the increase in inspections, which is up over 30% since this time, same time last year. Our EMS is running on par for calls for service with 239 in the month of July, giving a total of 1,768 calls as of July 31st. Our fire department is holding steady over the past several months with another 52 calls for service in July, 32 day calls, 20 night calls, for a total of 28 hours. And we round out our emergency services with our police department answering a whopping 2,190 calls for service in the month of July, bringing that total for the year to 15,479 calls. If you put that into perspective, that's approximately 73 calls a day that they're getting. And lastly, yesterday I received the final conceptual plans for the renovations of the administrative side of the offices up here. The concept will give us better use of the space, allowing much of that dead space to be utilized so that we can serve our residents better. Tomorrow in your report, I'll be able to give you a little sneak peek at what it's going to be doing and what we're looking at. Fortunately, we don't have to do major construction. It's just about reinventing the space that we already have and making it work better for us. That's the end of my report.
Okay, thank you. Engineer reports. We're having two separate ones,
Yep. One with CME and one with R&B.
CME and R&B.
So first off, PSE&G conceptual improvements to the Route 73 substation. CME met with PSE&G in January to discuss potential improvements to that site as they need to enlarge the substation that is currently out there. Recently, on August 2nd, we held a virtual meeting with representatives from PSE&G and their engineering department to discuss stormwater impacts to that site and the requirements that they must follow in order to qualify and come before the boards, planning board, zoning board, for their approval. At this point, they are advancing those plans along, and they anticipate, with no absolute deadline, but they do anticipate potentially submitting either by the end of this year or beginning of next year those plans to the zoning officer for review. The DCA 2023 Local Recreation Infrastructure Grant, Maple Shade was awarded $100,000, and you did approve the resolution for CME to do that work tonight, and I thank you for that. And we will begin working on that immediately. The hazard tree service, or the hazard tree survey service that we did for you, CME has completed 86 lane miles of tree evaluation throughout the township. The final report and software via the iTree software was delivered to the township on June 30th of this year. So you should have access to all of that information for potentially addressing any dangerous trees within the township. The 2024 NJDOT grant, there was approximately $151 million available through the municipal aid grant program for the fiscal year of 2024. We prepared an application for the repaving of North Coles Avenue from Lancey Road to Park Avenue and East and West Roland Avenue loop off of Collins Lane. Those applications were due July 1st. We submitted it a couple days before that. At this point, we anticipate the DOT will announce those grant awards in November. The electric vehicle charging station project, we had met with Flow Resource Group for potentially adding electric vehicle charging stations to the parking lot of this building, as well as the municipal parking lot next to Acme. We requested a cost estimate and a proposal from a gentleman from the EV Resource Group. He's a gentleman who works with Flow, would be actually installing those as a subcontractor for Flow, as an approved contractor for Flow. They had to, due to the fact that the municipal parking lot at Fork Landing, or at the corner of Brubaker and Fork Landing Road, does not have power on site like there is power out here. They would need to pull power off of a utility pole. There is one very close nearby, but they needed to reach out to PSE&G to get PSE&G's price to bring power down that pole so that they could tap into it. Last I had spoken with him, we are still awaiting PSE&G's response with that price. I did reach out to him again this morning to see if he'd give me an update. I have not heard back from him, so I will continue to reach out, and any update I have, I will give to Susan so she can distribute to you guys. The municipal building renovation project, as Susan stated, she received conceptual plans for the renovation of this building. It was requested that we also prepare a new proposal for you for the actual construction documents to be able to take that out to bid and get started on the project. We are working on that, and as soon as we have that, we will forward that over to Susan. And then the only other two items that I have are road opening permits. We continue to evaluate road opening permits as they come in to ensure that no roads that were recently paved or recently upgraded become open within 5 years of when they were last opened. And then escrow inspections, we continue to inspect all private construction that comes before the board or any escrow projects that come before the board that Pradeep asks us to inspect for the township, and we will continue to do so throughout the year. So that is my report.
Thank you. Questions?
Yes. Do you know anything about the repaving of East Front Street from Fork Landing to Stiles?
I'm not familiar. Has it recently been repaved?
No.
No.
Scheduled.
Is it scheduled? I'm not familiar with it either needing to be or.
That's you guys, yeah, that's the other engineer, RV. He was helping us
You
with that.
guys should talk. Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Dennis?
Start off talking about Fork Landing.
I know.
It's a privilege to give you an update on the various water and sewer projects that are going on in town. Right now, at the end of August, completes year 3 for Woodard and Kern in their second 10-year term for contract operations. So we always do a true-up after that period of time. And through the year, I track them as far as their maintenance and repair expense. And we were like 60,000 under, but we had 3 major emergencies here in August. You saw the one out there on Route 73 with the force main break. The Windsor Pump Station, that can's 75 years old, and it started rusting and leaking through the bottom, so we had to do emergency repair there and replace one of the pumps there. So one of the projects we'll probably want to emphasize for next year is at least get the bypass in there so that if we ever have a failure of that station, we have a way to hook up a bypass pump and connect that to the force main. And then there was also another water situation that came up. So we're going to be very close to the budget for it, but we'd probably go over a little bit in that as far as the maintenance and repair account. They're fully staffed now. They were running a little short. I looked at the index when we also do the adjustment for what their next year contract's going to be. Last year was an awful year because based on the various indexes in the energy, they were entitled to 11% increase. And Susan and I were able to talk to them, and they agreed to like a 9% increase, even though by contract. And that really carries on because it's an adjustment for the previous year. So that 2% savings carries over for the next 8 years. Right now, looking at a preliminary look at it, you're probably somewhere between 4 and 5% increase what their cost is going to be next year. One of the other issues that has come up is sewer easements in apartment areas. We generally do not cover or do any maintenance on any of the apartment complexes. What has happened, there's been some sewer system overflows in a couple of apartments, and the DEP comes out anytime there's a sewer system overflow, it becomes a reportable thing, and they start wondering who's responsible for maintenance. Now, the catch is in Stony Run and Roberts Mills apartments, we actually have lines that carry off-site sewage through their properties. So what I've done is I've drafted a general easement identifying which of those sewer lines are, and I have them with Eileen now. So it would be a policy change, but it's probably because we do have flows coming, because when there's the backup, was it caused by something in apartments, or was it caused by the off-site sewer flow? So that's something that it's ongoing that we're consideration. We'd have to reach out and get agreements in place if we were going to take over those responsibilities. Also, we have in next January, we have a congressional grant pending for water treatment plant improvements of a little over $3 million. And I would like us to be able to purchase a particular property. It's something we've been targeting. But we ran a little hurdles with the guy with the prices they were asking, but it's something at some point in time we should negotiate. The old Kings Highway plant is in a floodway, so there's limited what we can do as far as expanding or working on that site. We can work within the existing footprint. If we have to do that, we will do that, and we'll have to raise everything above certain elevations. But with the flood, stream encroachment, permitting, and so forth, I can't increase my footprint or the displacement of water. So there's the adjacent lot where we have our two wells, which would be more ideal, that front sort of along Route 38. So if we can purchase that, that'd be helpful. But that's something that we'll have to make a decisions next year when that grant becomes available, of what we're going to use it for and do. As far as active projects, we're up to the state for permitting for a lead service line replacement. EPA put mandates out that that any lead service lines or galvanized water services have to be replaced by the township. I need to get with the code official to find out what they're going to require, because sometimes we have to change all the way up to the meter inside the house. So there is a little section there, and I know that we changed out the meters about 5 years ago for all residents, so it should be something similar, because that's something I need to work out. That's one of the last things, and we're waiting for the funding approval. And again, we're hoping that we get some principal forgiveness on this, because there is supposed to be some monies available, but we won't know until you bid the project and go for the interim financing on the project. Other active projects is the screw pumps. There's 3 main pumps at the headworks, and we replaced them about 10 years ago, but the bearings are wearing on 2 of them. And so we've been getting noise complaints because of that. So we're scheduled to go out to bid in September. We do have funds available set aside for that work, but they're going to have to do one at a time and take them and ship them out and bring them back. So probably it'll be over the next 9 months that work will be taking place. We rejected the bids for the chlorine contact tank tonight. But when I put the specs out, I basically did a complete refurbishing of everything, put a little bit of the responsibility for any permit issues, because they were going to have to do some bypass, taking the last we have to chlorinate and dechlorinate, eliminating chlorine produced oxidants going out to the river, to the Pennsauken Creek. So 2 of the contractors didn't bid because they didn't want to take that liability on. We're going to rescope the project and just bid the worst parts of that. And the amount that they bid for the bypass pumping, I could buy a pump cheaper. So we would do that before we would actually rent the pump for that period of time. So that'll be something we'll rebid here next month. Just future projects. We did a large televising, cleaning inspection of a large section of the Euclid, the pump station flow region. And there's 2 pipe segments on Main Street between Fork Landing and Popular, right near the post office. We have constantly problems there, and the televised inspection showed that we have 2 sections that are category 5, which is like failed pipe. So I said the dirt's actually holding together. So that's part of what's going to be approved as far as the capital budget this year, and that'll be one of the priority projects that we'll focus on, because it's needful, and we've been having issues out there. Also, County Avenue, we're looking to do a water main replacement. There's a transition 12-inch main that runs down there, but none of the homes are connected to it. So, but the main that, for the 2 blocks there, that we've had probably 4 breaks there in that section, and you know, it starts adding up when you start. So it's the point where that would be our priority as far as where we want to do a water main replacement project next year. We just last year at the wastewater plant, we put a new grit system in. It was needed because the old one had been sort of out of service for 10 years. So one of the projects now, Your wastewater treatment plant has like 3 circular tanks, and we are able to do different treatment aeration based on how you zone off the tank. There's things that we do during storm events to protect our biological during that. That outer rink usually gets to the first flow, so it has some grit accumulation in there. And there's also some of the outside control joints have started to leak. So one of the projects will be to take that outer ring down, clean out some of the grit accumulation in that tank, and then do some structural repairs to the outer wall. At the water plant, it just seems like yesterday we put that plant in, but it's 20 years old, and we had failures of both of the clarifiers. The one we just did emergency repair on, but this fall we're going to have to take it down and do some additional repairs as far as how we change out the cabling for the sludge removal mechanism at the bottom of that, and we'll probably do some painting and coating of that. So that's going to be a priority project. And then another project that we have, I just mentioned, we want to do over at Windsor Pump Station. I would like to, I wish we had a different place we could put that station, because if you go over there, all the drainage from that whole area goes right down through a swale, which is sort of collapsing. So at some point in time, we had to put a box culvert or something in there to reestablish that area and redo that. We had bid that once, but we just didn't have enough funds to do that and the Knoll Pump Station at the same time. So it's something that's still out there in the future, unless we get another site to put it, which is probably not going to happen. So, any questions for me?
Dennis, you have an estimate of how much of the galvanized and the lead lines have to be replaced?
So you're in better shape than most towns, but right now, the worst case would be like $4 million. So what happens is, we have some known lead and galvanized services. The ones that are unknown, where people haven't responded back or we don't have good records, what we have to do is, for the first part of the so on our bid, we have to assume that we're going to be replacing them. But what's going to happen is, the first part is you either go out at the curb stop and you excavate that curb stop, and whether that's excavation or they have these vacuum methods and you do it. But we need to get down at that curb stop, and then we can evaluate homeowner side, street side. And if we have copper, we're golden. But if it's galvanized, then we have to know we now have to replace it. So phase 1 will be for all those unknowns, which are, we probably have like 400 total, and probably 250 of those are unknowns. So we know we have at least 150. We had 9 that were in state highways, and we didn't want to get the road opening permits for all the ones in state. So we did do evaluations there, and we got those down to 2. So.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Dennis? Okay, Dennis, thank you very much.
Busy.
Very busy.
Thanks, Dennis. A little bit.
Site plan.
Yes, there were 2 applications at the last site plan. One was on Linwood Avenue. Property was sold, had a single-family residence on it, and also a 2-family residence on it. And the reason they were in was because they wanted to do possibly a split of the property, and the question came up, was it an approved use? And we got to the point at that meeting where the owners of the property, the old owners of the property, were there prior to our ordinance. So that would make it an automatic approved use. But there was some reaching out had to be done. I don't know if they didn't make planning board this month because there wasn't one. So I don't know what the status is now. They might not even have to go to planning board if they can come up with that proof. That is pretty available. I helped with them to contact the original owners and the family. And the second one was Route 38, 470 Route 38, the tobacco and cigar store. they're proposing a cigar, smoking, and hookah lounge at the rear of the building. And they came in and they had a pretty basic sketch of what they wanted to do, and we told them that we really need a site plan showing the grading, the circulation, the landscaping, the way to get to the back, because it's going to be individual. Either you get in the back or you go in the front. So they left with the job to present a full site plan to CME. I don't know where that stands.
I actually received that site plan in the mail this morning from Pradeep, so I have that in hand. I have not had a chance to look at it at this point, but I do have it.
You need another day? Okay, so that's moving forward. And that's it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there any old business not on the agenda? Seeing none, new business. Susan?
Yeah, so I know that we have members of Maple Shade Soccer here, but as you're aware, there was a request about the expenses that the township has paid and is paying for the different sports organizations. In this case, it's regarding some sprinkler systems. So you've all been made aware of what's going on, and what my decision was as far as making the payment for that. We give a $3,500 allotment to the Soccer Association. My decision was that we would pay them, that we would reimburse it for them out of that $3,500, and there was some questions. So I think, in all fairness, if we invite Danielle or whoever's from the Soccer Association to come up and just explain and talk to you about it a little bit, and then whatever council decides on how to move forward, we'll move forward.
I'm Danielle, 50 North Maple.
Can you just sit by the mic, just so we get you on the,
Sure.
on the mic? Thanks.
My name's Danielle Radalasso at 50 North Maple. I'm the vice president of the soccer club. I think at the end of the day, what we're trying to understand overall is what is the responsibilities and what is the guidelines, who is responsible for what. So, we used to be responsible for all of our own stuff, then things got changed around, and the directive was that town owns the facilities, town owns the fields, so you guys are responsible for that maintenance. So when we go back, because there's things like broken sprinklers, that we do maintain every year, we have them winterized, we do the whole nine, but the sprinkler system broke. It was $300 repair, and it was, again, we were asked to take it out of the allotment. So our question is if the responsibility lies with the township for the fees, why do they have to come out of our allotment? Why aren't they being covered, and reimbursable under the budget of the township? And just what's the guidelines? Can we get some clear directive on what we are responsible for and what the township is responsible for, so we don't have to have the discussion and the questions for things like these? It should be very clear, either we're responsible for it or you are, and then we can have the decision about whether or not we want it reimbursed under the allotment. So that's really where we're at.
And I think that goes back to as we were discussing about the ordinance, that the current ordinance, there's things in there that I guess were in place when there was the Recreation Commission. So it's about changing the recreation ordinance altogether to give that. As you know, and as we've spoken, the township has started taking over the different maintenance items. This was something that we did not know that they were taking over, so it's not something that we were prepared to do. Yes, it's a minuscule amount. Dave has gone out and he's asked all of the organizations to please provide who their sprinkler, because every organization has a different sprinkler company, goes against Public Works Contractors Law. While their contractor is registered, and he's not our contractor, we didn't secure him, so it goes against our purchasing policies. So I think from council's standpoint, we're going to need to redo that ordinance that gives what the responsibilities are, especially now that the organizations are they're their own entities, is really what, is what they are. And we have taken over a lot of them. And just to be very clear, we are going to take over the sprinkler maintenance. We already have the RFP out, so we'll get somebody to come in that will do everybody's, in hopes that we can make sure that they maintain, and then that responsibility is not on them. I'm a huge supporter of the fact that I think the township should be maintaining their fields. That should not be something that they have to do. So I guess that's where we are. We just need to decide how you all want to move forward from this point, and and then include them, obviously, in the decision.
And I think at the end of the day, it's really bigger than just the sprinklers. It's overall, because there's been a lot of transition, there's been a lot of changes, and there is still some responsibilities, like things that maybe you don't even know that we do, like the sprinklers. But, you know, so we've always been responsible to maintain that. So we just need guidance and direction on where that accountability is and what the expectation is as far as where the funds are coming from, because, you know, we are given a $3,500 a year allotment, which we appreciate, you know, but that $3,500 is not the same that it was 10 years ago. So, you know, those types of things, you know, all of that needs to be taken into account. It would just be helpful for us as organizations to know what our expectations are on our side, as well as what our expectations are from you, and, you know, make sure that there's nothing that gets missed in between.
Can you tell me some of the other things that you guys are responsible for that, if we have control of the fields, that we should be doing?
We do our seeding, our hydro seeding. Nelson.
We're talking about Main Street
Maintenance,
field?
yes, I'm sorry, yes. Nelson, you've been at Main Street, you were a part of Main Street, you know how that grass is up there. If that's not seeded and maintained at least twice or 3 times a year, hydro seeded, it's gonna be dirt. It's horrible. There's no drainage up there other than the rocks we put in. So we maintain that. We also took over, after the turf field was built, we were told that we would have a bathroom facility and snack stand within 5 years. It's now on its 10th year anniversary. We still provide that funding for both of those. The township took over all the suppression systems for the clubhouses. Even though the turf is maintained and the snack stand is owned by us, it was supposed to be temporary, and we pay for all the inspections there. What else do we do?
Heather, did you say there's a clubhouse? There's no clubhouse.
No, the snack stand, the mobile snack stand that we have.
Okay.
That was supposed to be temporary, 5 years.
Okay.
It's been 10.
And there are porta potties there?
There were porta potties we were paying $100 a month for.
We took that over.
We took that over.
Yes.
Sorry, my dog had surgery.
That's fine. As far as field maintenance, off the top of my head, I'm trying to see if I have any notes on anything else.
So, I don't want to interrupt you, but I think there needs to be a discussion, and let's sit down, if you could give that all to us, so that we know, and then this way council knows exactly what it is, and we can do it, because as I've expressed to you, like, it is our intention to help you and to be able to make sure to maintain, especially as DPW is now taking on a lot more of the responsibilities and whatnot. Like the hydro seeding, first time I'm hearing it, so like, I didn't know that, and then again, that should be something, you know, that
And
would
that's
work.
$1,500, and then
Yeah.
the birds, we had an event, which you did know about, and so did Dave,
Right.
in 2021, that was $500.
Okay, so that was 2021.
It was 2021, yeah, that came out of our allotment that year. That was all, there was nests in the kitchen, it was horrible. There were sidings off Main Street, none of the lights outside of Main Street work. Main Street needs a lot of work. It hasn't been maintained.
The lights were repaired, we had all of them repaired.
The lights on the field, yes. Is that where that 75,000 number came from, or was that a bunch of things?
No, that's 75,000, yeah, the 75,000 is over the last
And
year.
then I asked because the lights on Main Street are 20 years old, and they were donated to us in 90s, which were off of a hockey rink that were already 20 years old. So those lights we've been asking for 15 years. At the time, it was $100,000.
You're talking about the lights in the parking lot?
No, well, lights at Main Street, and then the lights
Lights on
that
the Main
yeah,
Street parking lot?
the lights on the field, and then the ones that are always being maintained are the ones outside around the perimeter of the field, not the actual parking lot, but the clubhouse. Our air conditioner just went. It was from 1998. It held on that long. It's $4,500 to fix the AC. We just got that. So,
Okay, I would appreciate if you can put all that
okay,
in a memo to Susan.
okay.
In addition to, what do you spend, if we're to take that all over, what will you spend the $3,500 for?
Okay. All right, we spend it on equipment, uniforms, league fees, ref
Okay,
fees,
well,
insurance.
Just put that all on
Okay.
a note so that we can look at it all and make a determination.
Okay.
Wouldn't they be under our insurance? Why would they
No, we
be
have to all provide our own insurance, all sports organizations.
Well, they have to provide liability insurance.
Oh, I was
So
gonna say.
if there's a problem with the air conditioner, if there was an issue, if it got hit by lightning or something, we cover that building. So that's something that I can get the insurance company to go in and do. Those sorts of repairs, if there's vandalism that's done, that kind of stuff, that's exactly what we've done at the other order. So get a list of all that stuff.
Okay.
Let me know, and then we'll work through it, and we'll go forward with, what else. Because again, like the air conditioner, I'm just hearing about the air conditioner now, so.
Yeah, literally just, it's working, but I had somebody come
Oh, yeah.
out and look at it, and they said and it's from 1990, you probably put it in.
Right.
It's old.
Yeah,
It's
and listen,
from
we're at the rescue station, we do the HVAC and the air there half the time too, so I get it. But if, like as the mayor said, if you could just put that all on a list, I'll bring it forward, and then again, it's going to be about redesigning that recreation ordinance is old.
And probably keeping us in a loop, because, maybe there's a different way to get that repaired under a different.
We've just always funded it ourselves.
Right,
It's
right.
just
But
always been
things,
like that.
yeah, but things
Exactly.
are changing, so that way we're changing, you're changing, so we can
Right.
get together and make sure that everybody's changing in the right direction to help each other.
Right. Yeah, it's just hard, like I said, the turf snack stand, that's the biggest, one of our bigger expenses, and it is, yes, it is ours, but it was supposed to be temporary. And, you know, that's the only snack stand we use. We don't use Main Street snack stand, so we just want reimbursement for the inspections.
I was amazed at the back and forth. I read the same email I'm sure you read. I asked Susan for some clarification on that number. It was a lot more than I had expected, but.
Yeah, I don't even know where, I mean, it has to be from the fire, because I don't know where that money.
No,
it
I mean,
has to
she
be
has a
fire,
breakdown
like-
of
I
it.
have the
Just, there's a
breakdown.
lot of maintenance, a lot of stuff that I didn't realize, like maybe you don't even, but what was done. So I don't think it's a us against you kind of thing. I just think we need a little more communication.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So it does bring us back to the sprinkler issue too. Again, in the scheme of things, you know, hearing about a $4,500 air conditioner and, you know, and the money that they spend on the birds and whatnot, it's $200 and something dollars.
$294 at all. adds up, I
$294,
know,
yeah.
It's nothing.
I mean, as I told them, I have no problem. I mean, we can do it. They gave me the invoice, so if you were okay with that, I mean, as opposed to outside of their allotment, which typically that's where it would come from. But that's,
Yeah,
you know.
because then everything will be handled by one.
And that's what that's the goal that we have, and it's to get them whole, obviously,
Right.
get these things repaired, just as we've just done at the football stand.
And we
you know,
pay to
we do-
winterize it every year for $150 every November. We winterize it, we take care of the sprinklers, but a lot
That's something that the
a lot of
township
trucks
has
are on
to
that
do.
field, whether they're cutting, the township's cutting, the heads, the two heads popped, they turned on to open them up, and there was air in two lines, and they had to.
And like, the heads is something like that Public Works could fix, they can replace it. So there's ways of making sure that you aren't doing that, so that's what we'll need. And I think that's the best thing, let's work that out. So, Council, if you're, go ahead, sorry.
One thing you can't do, you can't call somebody in to do a repair and then just turn the bill into the township. Because we need to go out to bid, or we have people that already do it, or we have people at the road department that can take care of it.
Right.
So a lot of times we can circumvent some of those expenses.
Okay, yeah, like I said, we've just always done it that way, and then I saw Susan's email today, and that makes sense.
Okay, so yes, give me that stuff, we'll do it, and then in the meantime, we'll start looking to, you know, to amend the recreation ordinance to make it clear, because again, there's things in there that they're supposed to be doing for us.
Yep.
You know, that we're not, so I think it's just outdated, it's another one of those things just outdated, and we need to.
Can we also request that the allotment be looked at again, because I know every organization gets something different, and that hasn't, I've been in charge 28 years, and that hasn't changed.
Yeah, and I brought that up to
Since I've been
council
around.
today, and said, you know, it hasn't been changed, it's been there.
Yep.
It's
Yeah, we
been
did
there as long
discuss
as I've been, so, that's
Well, you still got
$3,500.
more than Little League got when I was in.
I'm sure, but I mean, does it go by head? Does it go, we have
$150.
500 kids, football has 70.
I don't even know, I mean, there's
know.
nothing in there that even says how it went,
Mike
that,
might know. I don't
yeah.
even know where it came from.
That how it, I don't know. So, and I'm sure that's stuff that as we're going through the ordinance, let's look at that and let's see. Because especially if, you know, if the town is going to take over a majority of those costs for you,
Right.
$3,500 is still a lot for your organization, but
Yeah, 'cause
in
ever
the
since
grand scheme of
COVID,
things, you might not need it as much as.
Correct. Well, I know, like, everyone's like, raise your registration fee, but I mean, we have like 15 hardships that we do every year. I mean, since COVID, our numbers are down. You know, people can't
Right.
afford things, and they still want to play.
Right.
So, I mean,
That's what I'm saying. Let's talk about it. Let's get it all situated. Let's figure out exactly what the costs are for the organization. And we can do that across the board with all the organizations.
Does soccer do an annual report of how that $3,500 is
we have to submit it to get our check.
Which is, they give receipts. They have to have receipts that are included with it. So, before they get it.
Most of it, like I said, most of it goes to uniforms and equipment.
Okay.
It seems like Danielle's a little more in charge than you lately, which is good. And I think she may just need a little more education on reaching out and talking to people.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Just keep it civilized.
I try to stay, since I'm involved in so many different things.
Right.
Try to stay.
There's a lot to know. Yeah, a lot to know, you know.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, we got a solution
Thank you.
here then?
Thank you.
Yep.
Yes.
So do we need to make a decision on that money, or what's the?
No, it's under all quotes, thresholds, whatever. If you're okay with it, I'm okay with it, and we'll just do it that way. I'll have it paid.
All right. Land Use Board, Susan.
So we've been discussing over the past several months, again, you know, just as much as our organizations have a hard time finding volunteers, we have a hard time finding volunteers. Our numbers, we've just recently received, 3 resignations from our planning and zoning board combined. It's becoming a little bit more and more difficult to have a quorum when we're there. So there's been the talk of possibly making one joint land use board. Joint land use board, yeah, that's how I say it. So that's what the question is what is council's opinion of it, of possibly going into a joint land use board that will ensure that we have members all the time. It does set it up, but it would give us the opportunity to ensure, especially with any growth that's going to be happening now, it's going to be very important that we have people sitting on this board to hear these applications so that we don't have to cancel. Now, mind you, we have not had to cancel meetings, but I just think it's important, especially if the town is looking at growth economically and development. Putting the right people in place on the boards. There are some people that have served for eons that I'm sure are getting tired, but do it because they have such a devotion to the town, and we appreciate that. But I'm sure if they were given the green light to say, hey, listen, we have other people to go, they would. But then there's also new people that are coming on, and it would give us the opportunity to really concentrate and train our volunteers on the land use boards. So if it's something that you'd like to do, obviously we have to do an ordinance, and we also have to do a referendum question because we are a community that's over 15,000 people. By law, you have to put a referendum out.
So that has to go out to public vote,
It
correct?
has to go out to public vote. There would have to be I'm sorry.
Non-binding.
Non-binding. It would be non-binding. So an interpretation that we would need to get out to everybody. I don't know, Eileen, if you want to expand a little bit
So you
more.
know, a joint land use board has 9 members and 4 alternates. So it's not, you're not getting rid of a lot of people. Like
Right.
Susan's saying, it's difficulty finding people who can make the meetings. There's not much, it's still the same process. You just have one board. Same thing if you have a review of a decision by the zoning officer, it would go to this joint land use board. The only difference is that the class 1 and 3 folks, the folks from council who sit on the joint board, can't vote on certain variances because that's why you're not sitting on the zoning board. You're not allowed to be involved in that process.
Okay.
I think if you look around, a lot of towns have moved to it. Hanesford has one right now. Bordentown has one. And it just allows one central board, and you're only appointing one set of professionals.
Yeah.
We would still keep site plan, correct? That would still be an
You
option?
can still keep, yes, you can still
I mean,
keep.
your boards communicate, but what other towns are finding is it assures applying the same standards going forward. It also gives you a better look at, hey, what do we need to do with our master plan?
So-
But what would the quorum be for that?
The quorum
Would
for
you
a
have to have,
9-member,
you would have to have 9 members present?
that's a full bucket,
Okay,
right?
where the other one, we have to have 5 or 6 out of
Right.
the 9 to have a quorum.
But
This
if you're
is-
talking a variance, you're taking out 2 of the members. So
Okay.
it's 7.
7.
And you need a
Okay.
vote on,
But
I'd have
what
to
I'm
check on the
saying is, if
majority vote
someone
on it.
doesn't
think it's
show
a
up
five.
and we put the alternates in there, and we
Right.
still don't have enough, what is the minimum that is required to hear an application?
On a D variance, it would be 7 members, I
Right,
believe, and then
right.
on everything else, it's
It's a
5
nine.
would be your
Oh,
leadership
okay.
quorum.
So with the 4 alternates, we should never have an issue.
We'd be 13 even if you lost the 2 council members, you'd still be
Yeah.
11. So
Right.
Good,
Okay.
right, that's why you might make sure you
just-
have good alternates, because when those 2 council members can't vote, you have 4 people there ready to vote.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to know that.
So if council members are a part of that, they can't vote, but they can't vote on zoning.
They only can't vote on certain
But they can
variances.
still,
Certain
And
variances.
everything else, they're there.
they
Any
can,
planning issues, I would think that
they can
do
still,
now, right?
they can still ask questions.
Oh, yeah,
They
you're still a
can
part,
participate, right?
Right, right.
100% participate and sit
can't
and listen
vote.
and just until the vote.
Okay.
For certain variances.
So what would the next step be to get that process rolling if we decide we want to do
Well, if we wanted to do it for January 1, which, I mean, we wouldn't do it in the middle of the year, we have to get a referendum question out. This evening, I would ask that we add a resolution authorizing the referendum question and then authorizing by title, I guess, an ordinance that
There is
will.
an ordinance, I have a draft, and it's an ordinance, it's a standard ordinance, just saying that you want to form a joint land use board. It explains the membership. and then it attaches the referendum question and the interpretive statement. The referendum question is simple. Should the township have a joint land use board? The interpretive statement explains this allows for the consolidation of the zoning board and the planning board, and with certain exception, they can hear all applications, with the exception for the 2 members.
But there, now, I know this is technical, but would there be more than one meeting a month?
You can make
Depending
two.
on,
It'd be up to you.
depending
Up
on
to
the
you.
volume that
Yeah.
you're getting?
Yep. So
Okay.
we could still have two meetings. It would just be 2 meetings of that board. So, and then it depends
May
on,
give occupants, I mean, people, applicants, a chance. They can't make the first one, and there's
Right.
another one in that month, as opposed to waiting to the next month.
I like the idea.
Yeah, so,
Being on one of the boards previously, it gets tough when you don't have
Yeah,
the
sure
people
is.
you need, or you have to, people bring their attorneys back and their engineers back because we couldn't make a board, so.
and we're worrying
quorum.
here, are we going to have enough, sometimes
Right.
till the last minute? And not that things don't happen, things do happen, we understand that, but I just think that, again, looking at where we're going and what we're doing, I think that it really sets us up for success going forward.
Sure.
Again, it still gives the opportunity for council to
So
be a member of the.
if we agreed to that, what would we need to do tonight, just a resolution?
We have, so council knows our engineer has a couple of joint boards, if you have any questions on the operation of it or experience with it.
So, yeah, I do sit on two towns in Burlington County, joint land use boards for that town. Those towns are on the smaller side in terms of population, in terms of the number of applicants who come before that board. Usually, there's maybe 1 or 2 applicants per month coming forward for anything from either zoning, planning, variances, any of those things. But if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
Being on zoning for the years I was on that, I mean, very rarely did we have more than, say, 3, and that was a big month.
Yeah.
And I know planning's probably about the same, so to have 6 in a night would probably be tough. I
Sure.
think
I
we'd
mean,
to
you'd
do
have to
some
have a
movement.
cutoff point
Especially when you get into the bigger ones,
Yeah.
Sure.
Where
And
there's engineers and lawyers and architects.
you would certainly have there's, on those 2 boards, there is a cutoff time of, I believe, 10 o'clock. We start at 7, and the board will not hear a new application after 10 p.m. And that's generally.
So no more 1 a.m. meetings like we've had?
No, and that's generally on a lot of the boards that I've gone in front of on the behalf of the client or the applicant. If there's a number of meetings or a number of applicants that night, I've had to come back the following month simply because they ran out of time. The previous applicant took up a significant amount of time, and my applicant, my client was unable to appear before that board that month.
Sure.
I think as the mayor said too, though, if we did something where we did it 2 times a month, it gives those months that we have a large applicant there, you hear that large applicant and then maybe a smaller one, and then, so it does, as opposed to everybody sitting around waiting as we're sitting through applications. I just think it's a more efficient way to run. But again, this is totally.
I mean, I think it's a great thing. I don't know how everyone else feels, but
I agree.
being on those boards.
Yeah, I agree.
And so, on both boards too, yeah.
Eileen, I wrote your titles down if you want to.
I was just going to
Oh, you
say, I
got 'em?
can
Okay.
give you first, so you understand, you need a referendum because your population's
It's
over
over
15,000.
Correct.
Smaller towns don't need to do that. So it's section 45D 25C2 of the municipal land use law that says if you have over 15,000, you can establish a consolidated board by way of voter referendum. The question that would appear on the ballot would say, shall the Township Code of Maple Shade Township be amended to create a joint land use board? The interpretive statement explains the question asks the voters to decide whether the Township of Maple Shade should amend the code to permit the planning board to exercise all the powers and duties of a zoning board of adjustment in addition to their duties as the planning board. This creates a joint land use board and provides for a single board, professionals, and staff for all planning and zoning applications within the township. A yes vote will result in the introduction of the ordinance amending the Township Code, I'm sorry, that should be passage of the ordinance, to establish the Joint Land Use Board in accordance with the statutes. So what happens is you will introduce an ordinance and adopt it, but it says contingent upon voter approval on the general election.
So we'd have to move on that with the November election, right?
When's our
That's what I'm
cutoff?
gonna do. I
When is the
personally am
cutoff?
not in favor of it. If you're going to do 2 meetings a month, that means everybody goes to 2 meetings a
Right.
month. Where right now you have a zoning board meeting and a planning board meeting, so they go once a month.
You mean the volunteer, the members of the boards go to 2 meetings a month?
Most of them
Well,
are
they
different,
might
and
not,
they'd be
we might
combined.
not have 2 meetings. And wouldn't it be contingent on how many applications came?
Well, it's just like the planning board the other night. We didn't have a meeting, or you didn't have a meeting,
Right.
because there wasn't enough.
Right.
So it would apply to that also.
So really, then the second meeting would be our choice, and
Yeah.
that would be,
That would
I
be
guess,
for
discerned
convenience
by
of
the
the
number of
applicant.
applicants.
Yeah.
So basically, would you say we make it once a month, but you know, if there's an issue, we get whatever, 10 applicants in that month, we could voluntarily have a
And
second.
you would know that on the site plan.
I mean, I see what you're saying, because, again, being on those boards, you realize sometimes you get people that can't make it. Well, it's those same people that have to make 2 meetings.
Right.
So I do understand that thought.
That's my one thought. And I know we discussed this maybe a year ago, you and I did, or we all did. And I've thought about it, and I've talked to some people that are on those boards, and there are various opinions, and I just don't happen to be in favor of them. That's on one person.
Well, where do we go now?
So if you'd like, again, it would be a non-binding referendum.
Right.
So if we do, we would have to do a resolution this evening to put the referendum, to get the referendum up to the county. It's due by August 29th. So we would need that, and then
wow.
we would need to
Plenty of time to
introduce-
think about it.
Yeah. We would need to introduce an ordinance by we would be able to do it by title and then have that ready for publication next week.
I mean, I think all of us have been on those boards, so, I mean, if you want to run down the line, like, what's your thought?
Yeah, I'm in favor of it.
I'm in favor.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I've been on both boards, zoning
Right,
and
right,
planning.
right, and I'm kind of in favor too, so, hate to say it, buddy.
That's okay?
No, I mean.
Still has to pass referendum.
Yeah,
So
right, right.
That's it
Yeah,
too.
the
We'll make sure
residents
that
have
it
to
gets
approve it.
explained.
All right.
So Eileen, then can we make a motion to
Yes, do
introduce?
we have a resolution number?
I do. It's 2023-R-147.
And the title of that would be a resolution of the Township of Mapleshade, County of Burlington, requesting a referendum question be placed on the general election ballot for 2023 relative to establishing a joint land use board.
Eileen, can we determine that that's a non-binding
We'll
referendum?
confirm that. Mhm.
Okay.
And Terry, do you have the number for the ordinance?
The ordinance would be 2023-19.
Yep. So we need a
Start with
motion.
the introduction of the ordinance?
Introduction of the ordinance, yes.
Can I have a-
Council, if I may, Mayor, this would be an ordinance of the Township of Mapleshade, County of Burlington, amending Chapter 4, Administration of Government, and Chapter 22, Land Use Procedures of the Township Code, so as to merge the Planning Board and Zoning Board of Adjustment to establish a joint land use board.
I'd make a motion.
Second? Clear.
Comments? Roll call, please, Terry.
Ms. Nunes?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Approved?
Mrs. Volpe?
Yes.
Mr. Weist?
No.
Mayor Kaufman?
Yes. Publication date?
Publication date is August 30th, 2023.
Okay, with the hearing,
Public hearing will be September
September
14th.
14th, all the other ones. Okay,
Yes.
very good.
No,
Thank you.
Terry, this is for the ordinance? I don't think the publication date, oh, the publication is August 30th. Okay,
Yes.
Yeah, publication.
thank you.
Okay.
So would there be a public hearing or no?
Yes.
There would be.
There would be a
Okay.
public hearing, and it would be explained,
That was it, they could
this
vote.
is what the council proposes to do, but it will only be effective if it's approved by the
Approved
voters
Okay.
in November.
Okay.
So Mayor, then the resolution, again, would be, too many files open here, sorry.
Too many files.
Resolution of the Township of Maple Shade requesting a referendum question be placed on the general election ballot for 2023 relative to establishing a joint land use board.
Election 2023.
I'll make that motion.
No, is that, I thought we made the motion.
You did for the ordinance first.
This is the
Yeah, that was
resolution.
the
That was the ordinance first.
That was for the ordinance, this is, thank you. So we have a
I have a motion.
motion and the second?
We have a motion here. Who?
Second.
Second. Comments? Need a roll call?
Yes, please.
Right there.
Ms. Nunes?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Approved?
Mrs. Volpe?
Yes.
Mr. Weist?
No.
Mayor Kaufman?
Yes. Counselor, are we okay?
Everybody good?
We all
We're good?
Yes, we're good. I'm sorry, I thought you said council, are you all okay? I apologize.
Counselor.
We already did the council. I'm looking at Counselor.
Yeah.
We're good,
Um,
thank you.
Okay. Is there any other new business not on the agenda?
I have none.
None? Seeing none? Is there any reason to go back into closed session?
No, Mayor.
All right. Seeing no new business, no reason to go back into closed session, have a motion to adjourn.
So made?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Motion's adjourned until September